Good morning, everybody. It's your boy D Max. So let's talk. Rest in peace again to Jada Youngan. This story, as it unfolds, get worse and worse. I couldn't imagine a worse scenario for this young man. And his death is going to be shrouded by a whole bunch of controversy and craziness that really indirectly affects him, but it's not him. It's his father, Kenyatta Scott Sr. If you pull up that name, then he's going to pop up in I guess it's the Bogalusa, Louisiana Police Department. He's wanted in connection with allegations of indecent liberties with a minor, and also selling drugs to a minor. So, uh, allegedly sexual assault of a minor child and selling drugs to a child is the reason why Jada Youngin lost his life, and that's because of his father. So, Mr. Kenyatta Scott Sr., um, the police went to search his home after the allegations was made, and he was not there apparently. And when they went in, they found a bunch of drugs. They found a lot of X pills allegedly. They found a bunch of drug paraphernalia allegedly in Mr. Scott's room, and so they were looking for him. So he was on the run whenever he was chilling at, I guess, his ex-wife's house, um, along with Jada Youngin. And, those guys ran up on the father, but they decided to take out Jay too. They probably took Jay out because they felt like, he's the source of it. If they don't kill Jay, then, there's going to be a heavy retaliation, which there was a retaliation anyway. And according to reports, it's still going on because after Jay got shot and lost his life that night, there was a shootout in the parking lot. But not only that, there was multiple homes that have been shot up since. And so there's a heavy retaliation going on in Bogalusa, Louisiana right now. And I feel sorry for everybody that's involved, because all of this has started because of a grown man, 43 years old, out there trying to molest children. This is the issue. This is a major issue, and this is something that is going to tarnish this young man's legacy. It's going to destroy the family if it hasn't already. I feel bad for Jay, the youngest sister. On she was online, and she was coming to her brother's defense, which all sisters should, because there's a lot of speculation going on about what took place. And one of the first things that came out that I saw that was very reckless was somebody came out and said, "Well, young boy probably had something to do with, he was beefing with so and so and so and so." All of these fake detectives come out of the woodworks on social media whenever something go down, and they don't have no type of facts. They don't have no type of information. They're just going off of, oh, well, he was beefing with so and so, so it could have been them. And they'll put out a video, but they won't say it could have been them. They'll say, oh, YB and so, and but throwing people's names into something as serious as murder, knowing that these hip hop cops out here just looking for an opportunity to catch one of these young brothers up on a RICO charge. Now, could they be involved? They could, because they carry that type of energy. But at the same time, don't you just put in names in a conversation without any type of evidence or proof to back up what you're saying? And that's what a lot of you content providers are doing, is pissing me off and pissing the family of people off. You're such an opportunist, and you're such a dang opportunist. Got me sounding like Don King over here. But you're such an opportunist that you don't care who you hurt. You just want to be the first to get the story out. There's a lot of times where I hear something and it's like, I haven't seen any of this information being posted yet. And instead of just jumping out there to be the first person to post it, I'll start doing some research and find out why nobody's immediately posting it when they obviously found out the same information I did at the same time. And a lot of times, once I do some research, I'll find out that that story is based on no truth whatsoever. And so I withhold putting out that type of information because they're going to hold me accountable instead of the original source of the information. You know what I'm saying? So I don't put stuff out until I got some type of confirmation on something or some strong evidence to point towards something, or either a story leads me to a different question that needs to be addressed in my mind. That's how I do that, man. But there was people out here that was throwing out allegations and dragging other rappers into this whole thing when it was just a hometown thing. That man went out there and he messed with some young children, did some things that he shouldn't have done, and that brought heat on him, not only from the police, but from the family of the person that he violated, because that child that he violated has parents, may have siblings, may have cousins, and them goons say they drove past the house first, went down, and there's a street behind Jada Youngan's mom's house. So they went to the street behind Jada Youngan's mom's house and came up from behind the house and shot Jada Youngan and his father on the porch. Now, if you have a target, that target is sitting outside on the porch with their son who raps about how they kill people. Then when you go in to kill that father, you're going to say, hey, we got to take him out too, because if we don't, he going to be on our neck coming to get some retaliation. And that's the last thing we want, is to have to protect ourselves against retaliation for what we're about to do. So them guys knew that if they went in there and killed that man's dad like that, that they was gonna have to take him out eventually, him and his crew. Apparently, he got some goons that's riding for him, because Bogalusa right now is a war zone. And so my prayers go out to all of the people in Bogalusa, because a lot of y'all don't have anything to do with this, but you very well may get caught up in the crossfire of these people. And that's the sad part, is that somebody may just very well lose their life for simply being in the path of a stray bullet. And that's sad. That's very sad. And so what's going to happen now? What's going to take place now? Who's going to settle this issue, and who's going to bring this to a place of, well, I know there's not going to be any resolution in this, because when something happens at this magnitude, forgiveness is not usually in the conversation. There's going to be a bunch of retaliation. There's going to be a lot of police investigation, but there's not going to be any resolution of this issue, and there's going to continue to be a cycle of murder now in that area because of this. This is something very significant. A lot of those guys was counting on Jada Youngin to get them up out of the hood and to get them a record deal and to help get them on. Well, now that that's been taken away, and they lost that little strand of hope that they had in Jada Youngin, what are these guys going to be capable of doing now? Because there's nothing more dangerous than a person who's lost hope. And if the last little bit of hope that they had was in Jada Youngin, and that was just taken away like that, then these guys are about to go to a whole different level of violence and mayhem and just total ignorance. Man, that's sad. This cycle is killing us as a people, man. This crazy cycle is killing us as a people. Should they have killed Jada Youngin? Ah, man, no. No, I don't think they should have killed either one. I think they should have let the police handle it and deal with it the way that they do so that, justice could be served. But then, too, down in those areas like Bogalusa and all of these small parts of Louisiana and Mississippi, a lot of times people who commit these types of crimes on children often get away with it. We have to take into consideration the geographical area that we're referring to. This is a place that is known for racial disparity against black people and little effort being put forward to find justice for black people in these small country towns like this. And so I don't know how much effort they're going to put into solving this case the right way. The man was on the run and he was sitting on the porch. So I don't know how hard the Bogalusa police was looking for him if he feels comfortable enough to just be sitting out on the porch chilling with his son who's a major star who has a blue, what I guess it was a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or whatever type of car Jada Youngin had. It's very, very bright and is very um draws all types of attention to it. So it's not like he was laying that low. Everybody knew where the kid's mom stayed. Everybody did. And so for this man to go and do these types of things and bring this type of heat back to his own home, what type of mental capacity was this man in? I believe Mr. Kenyatta Scott Sr., who's Jada Young's father, make sure you know that, I believe that he was stuck in this cycle. You have these older dudes who don't want to grow up. They want to live their childhood over again and try to redo those teenage years that they didn't have the means and the availability to do the way they wanted to. And so now that his son is starting to blow up on the music scene, he went from living vicariously through his son to trying to relive his own youth. And that's why you have this 43-year-old man out here having sex with a minor, allegedly, and selling drugs to minors because he's trying to hang with a young crowd so that he can still have a sense of youth within himself. We've talked about these types of brothers, and that's a sad place to be. Grow up, man. You're a grown man. Why are you out here trying to do the same things that a 15 and 16-year-old kid would do? That doesn't make any sense to me, but actually it does make sense to me. I just explained the theory behind it. And it goes a little bit deeper than that, but that's not really my focus. My focus is on the fact that how does he feel knowing that his son lost his life because of his poor decisions as a grown man and as a supposed father? How does he feel knowing that he just took his family's chance of making it out of the hood away? His actions took his son out of here. His actions destroyed their opportunity for wealth, financial stability. He's out here selling drugs, dude. You got weed, you got pills, you got all of this stuff. You got exos and all. Let me tell you about exos and cocaine and stuff like that. Exos and cocaine is what people use to turn people out. Those are turnout drugs. Exos and cocaine gives you this euphoric feeling of it gives you a sexual wave and you want to go and you want to have sex with whoever and wherever and whenever, and there's not much that you want to agree to if they get you high enough on these pills and on cocaine. So that combination alone is very, very questionable to me because it's used in a lot of these um, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of these sexual sexual endeavors that are taking place now. A lot of people that I meet that claim to be living an alternative lifestyle indulge in these drugs heavily. And I've been making that connection just by dealing with people and talking to people about this, because these are some drugs that I used to use not that long ago, just a few years ago. I got off Exos because I seen how bad they were, and I started to feel how bad they were. So I left that stuff alone. But these young guys who are coming up, they're just being introduced to these things. And I know as a grown man, the type of situations that I got in being on exos and stuff like that. So I could just imagine what a young man at the age of 24 is that what that would do to him. But then his dad, who's just 3 years younger than me, no, 2 years younger than me, out here on exos hanging around little kids. What do you think's going to happen when you're taking a drug that enhances your sexual appetite? What do you think's going to happen? Why do you think a lot of these kids are being violated and being assaulted by these old men? These old men, oh, and I forgot he had crystal meth. That's another drug that intensifies your sexual appetite. It gives you a level of sexual stimulation like no other drug. And so if you're doing, usually when you're selling drugs like this, you're doing some of them. So if you're doing crystal meth, you got cocaine, you got X pills, you got weed, all four of these. And if you're indulging in any of the four, even one or two out of the four, then that's going to put you in some compromising situations, especially when you're around little kids. I don't know how old the kid was he violated, but he violated a kid. It doesn't matter the age. That's very irrelevant. The fact that he did it and brought this heat on his family, because not only did he bring heat on his son, but who else was in the household that could have been killed? Who else could have, his daughter could have been standing out there on that porch. I don't know if he's still married to Jada Youngan's mom, but for him to be over at that house, I guess they had some type of copacetic relationship, or they were still together. And he brought all of that energy to his own home. But if he had all of these drugs and stuff like that, his wife had to know something. Ain't like she was just oblivious to what he was doing. So if she didn't say anything about it and she was complicit with him doing, selling these drugs and stuff like that, then she ought to know that he's going to find himself in compromising positions. And she knew what type of dude he was. She lived with him. She dealt with him. She had a son with him. And so, well, I don't know if his daughter, that was his daughter, blood daughter, but, he has children with this lady. She know him better than most people. And so she knows what he's capable of. And she knew what he was out there doing, allegedly. And so this brings about a whole new topic, a whole new subject, when you have a child whose parents don't understand what it is to be a grown up. When you have a child who is potentially making more money than the parents, and the parents bow down to the child's wishes and the child's actions and the child's way of life, as opposed to holding that child to a standard. It used to be whenever a rapper got on, or whenever somebody got on in music or got on in athletics or any area, their parents were the ones that kept them grounded. You're not seeing that anymore. You're seeing people, these rappers, whenever they die, their parents is out here in the clubs. Their parents is up here on social media trying to be a kid all over again and trying to recapture those years of youth that they lost by making the poor choices that they made when they were kids. And I'm not saying no names to try to put smut on anybody's name or anything like that. I'm just pointing out the obvious, because every time a rapper die, now you see their parents popping up trying to keep that spotlight going and trying to keep that 15 seconds of fame going, even though their child is gone. And they need to let it go. Your child was here for a minute. They did what they did. They got what they got. Now it's gone and over. And these parents should be in a position to where they never compromise their morals and their values just because their child has made it, so-called made it. So-called made it. I have to put emphasis on that, because getting into the rap game is not making it anymore. It used to be when a person became a rapper or entertainer or something like that, oh, you made it. You made it out the hood. But now, if you become a rapper, it seems like it pushes you deeper into the hood. You didn't make it by becoming a rapper now. So they're going to have to stop saying that. All of these rappers who make songs about how they made it out of the dirt, how they got it out of the mud, and how they made it out of the ghetto. No, you didn't make it. You put yourself in a worse scenario. Now you really put yourself in the belly of the beast, because all of those ops that you had before when you was broke, guess what? Those ops really didn't have the sources to really do nothing to you, or their hatred for you wasn't intense enough for them to want to come and really do something to you. But when you blew up in the rap game and you was able to talk about them on an international level or a nationwide level, as opposed to just a local neighborhood level, oh, now that beef has become 10 times bigger than what it was before, and they got to take you out because they don't have the ability or the platform that Jada Youngin had to diss. So their diss would go no farther than their city. But Jada Youngin, if he spoke against them, then that would go nationwide. And so now that intensifies the beef, because they don't want to be seen as weak. They don't want to have the reputation of being the weaker crew. And that's how all of these kids end up losing their life, because they're taking their beef on a much larger platform, and it's no longer a level playing field because you're not local anymore. And so this is the things that we have to take into consideration, man. I'm praying for all the people in Bogalusa, Louisiana. Hey, my man, Reverend Tony, I know you down there in Shreveport. I don't know how far or how close Bogalusa is to you. But man, I'm praying for everybody down that way, because these guys don't go to no shooting range. They don't have no good aim, and they don't really care about aiming directly at the person that they want to hit. They'll just unload a whole clip, hoping that a couple of those bullets will hit their target, not caring about where the rest of the bullets go to. So, there's a lot going on right now. It reminds me of when Young Dolph was murdered and all of the carnage that happened thereafter. So, people in Bogalusa, Louisiana, my prayers go out to y'all. I hope somebody else, I don't know. I don't know. I don't hope nobody do nothing. I'll take that back. I'll catch that statement before I put it out there, because I don't want to wish bad on nobody. Because I don't want that type of energy coming back to me. And the type of energy that's out here right now, I definitely don't want no parts of that, because, I don't want to be taken to that level, and I don't want to be pushed to the level to where I feel like I have to sink to that level. Because if I sink to that level, it's going to be some smoke in the city with some slow singing and flower bringing. But we don't want to take it there. We want to learn how to properly uh, diffuse situations and de-escalate situations so that it doesn't get to this point. So once again, rest in peace to Jada Youngin. His dad's in critical but yet stable condition in whatever hospital they transferred him to. He was the target, and that's the reason why they followed them to the hospital and had to shoot out in the parking lot. They was trying to get Jada Youngan's dad. See, originally when the story came out, everybody was thinking that they was just after Jada Youngan, and people were, well, what did Jada Youngan do so bad that these guys followed them to the hospital, jeopardizing getting caught up to finish the job? Well, they was trying to finish off Jay's dad. It wasn't Jada Youngan that they was trying to finish off. They had already shot both of them up on the porch, and they seen that somebody was trying to take them to the hospital, and they was like, this dude don't need to breathe, this dude don't need to live, we need to get him. Maybe somebody put a bag on his head for the molestation charges, or the molestation allegations, I should say. So this is all a big mess, man. It's probably gonna get worse as more information come out. I'm gonna keep y'all locked in on this and updated on this, because this is a different scenario right here. This is not like the rest of the rap deaths where, the guy get killed for, his lyrical content, which very well could have happened because, he beefing with that Fulio dude and uh, uh multiple others. He had beef with Young and Ace, I guess. They were supposed to have been down. They fell out about some stuff, and now Young and Ace is feeling bad because he didn't make it right. That's another thing, man. When you fall out with somebody, you don't know how much time you have left on this earth. So if you are hard headed and you don't want to make amends and you don't want to reconcile or rectify a situation between a friend that isn't that big and something that really can be settled just by a conversation, then you should take that time to make that happen, because you don't never know when a person is going to leave this earth. I remember, and shout out, rest in peace to my cousin Nick D, man. My cousin Nick D and my homeboy Brian, they was like best friends, man. These brothers hung together, they trapped together, everything, man. And a situation went down between them to where something foul took place, and they had this ongoing beef between each other, man. Even to the point to where my homeboy Brian, he made a song about it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of dissing him. This was like one of the first diss tracks because this was an internal beef. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, Nick lost his life, man. And I was the one who told Brian about it because I was headed to Brian's brother's house to let Brian's brother know. And on my way there, I ran into Brian. And I remember it vividly. I got in the car with him, and as soon as I said what happened, I was like, man, Nick D is gone, man. Somebody just killed him in a gambling spot. It was a gun shootout. We trying to get the rest of the information. The look on my boy's face, man, the look on his face, you could literally see his heart drop. You could literally see the color run out of his face. And this is a black dude. Because soon as he heard the words that Nick D is gone, Nick D is dead, all of that beef went away. All of that bad blood and resentment went away and turned into shame. It turned into remorse, because this is my brother. I really love him. I was just hurt by what took place, and we could have fixed this. This is something easily fixed. All of those realizations flooded into his mind right then. But at that point, it was too late. Nick was gone, man. And there was nothing could be done or said about it. But from that point forward, for the next few years, we always threw a Nick D bash, a Stop the Violence bash in that neighborhood on behalf of Nick D, in honor of Nick D. And that was always spearheaded by Brian. That was motivated by the guilt of not making things right before he left this earth. And so if you got somebody out here and you got a petty beef with them and you have a real good relationship, otherwise, fix that, man, because your time on this earth is not promised and neither is theirs. So get it right up front, man. Get it right, because today or tomorrow is not promised. But that's all I really have on this story. Like I said, I keep y'all posted when more stuff come out, because I'm sure a lot more is going to come out, because this is going to go from being about Jada Youngan's death to his dad's indiscretions. And so we're going to get into that. We're going to follow that. And this is your boy D-Mac. I'm about to get out of here. Y'all know what I say, man. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.